Guard to attack my Democratic political opponents, as if that is a meme. And then a few days later, as if they haven't already humiliated themselves enough, Donald Trump keeps talking about violence against his political opponent. And they write another op-ed saying to all the billionaires reading and all of the guys driving around Maseratis who've doubled their fortunes while going to country clubs calling Kamala Harris a socialist, they double down and say there's nothing to see here. Why, the Democrats have been far worse. And then we see this. I wonder, does this, could we put this up again, please? I wonder, Wall Street Journal editorial page, does this look like a meme to you? Or does this look like something that you and the New York Times editorial page and the Washington Post editorial days in better days and every editorial page and every politician on the Republican side, the Democratic side, and independents would all come out speaking against this?
Right.
But you have preemptively capitulated to a man who you believe is going to win next Tuesday when many on his own side are panicking. They're panicking and saying, if we don't get more young men out, we are going to lose this race to Kamala Harris. But, Willie, let's just, again, look at this from 30,000 feet. And this is how Donald Trump ends his campaign, calling for 9 rifles aimed at Liz Cheney's face to shoot at her face. This is how Donald Trump is ending his campaign for president.
Yeah, it's a staggering moment here as we make the turn into the critical final weekend, and we can already anticipate, it's probably already happening, what the response will be. Oh, he didn't mean that literally, right. Joe. Come on, you guys, you always blow these things out of proportion. How many times does he have to say things like this, though? It's not, you can't take these in a vacuum. You can look back to him saying that General Mark Milley deserved death for talking to China, to reassure China in the moments after January 6, 2021. This kind of language he's used again and again, this kind of violent rhetoric about imprisoning opponents, about shutting down television networks, about people who cross him in any way deserving the worst kind of punishment. And what do we know about that? Maybe a flip comment to him, maybe something he was throwing off the cuff. Maybe he meant that she should go to war herself and stand there and feel what it's like to be in battle. But we know that his supporters take these signals literally, some of his supporters take these signals literally. See January 6th. So he stirs the pot, walks away, and lets hell break loose, as we saw on January the 6th.
Yeah, and, you know, Gene Robinson, as we look at this headline, and we see the clip, and I'll be glad to play the clip again if anybody at the Wall Street Journal editorial page wants to call it a meme, as we close the campaign. But Gene Robinson, you have been reporting for decades, like most great journalists. You've spent your time in the London bureau as the Washington Post London bureau chief, as our friend Steve Ratner, but of course Murrow and others who've been through there. And it's that throughout your career has provided you a unique view at how the world looks at the United States. I'm going to ask Caddy in a second, but I just want to ask you, your reaction to Donald Trump calling for Liz Cheney being shot in the face by 9 guns, 9 rifles in the closing weekend of the campaign. Not only what it says about where the Republican Party is in 2024, but also what it must look like to our allies in London, in Paris, in Madrid, in Warsaw, across the world.
Well, it looks completely insane to our allies across the world, and this is unprecedented, and this is, I'm so glad that we're focusing on this and spending some time on it, because this is not normal. This is not acceptable. This is so dangerous, and I just want to, I don't usually do a personal appeal, but I hope my friend Paul Gigot, who's the editor of the Wall Street Journal editorial pages, and is a friend of mine. Paul, are you watching this? Are you paying attention to this? Is this okay with you? Because I know it's not. Don't you have a responsibility to say that to your readers? This is absolutely beyond the pale. It's a direct threat, not 9 barrels pointed at her, 9 barrels shooting at her. This is just astonishing.
Gene, I second that plea for people like Paul Gigot and others to have the strength that they need to step up, for people at the Washington Post to step up. Liz Cheney just posted a response. This is how dictators destroy free nations. They threaten those who speak against them with death. We cannot entrust our country and our freedom to a petty, vindictive, cruel, unstable man who wants to be a tyrant. Hashtag women will not be silenced. Hashtag vote Kamala. And Joe, to Willie's point, so many people will cast this off as you guys. He doesn't mean it. Who in your life, I ask, to the people who say you guys, who in your life would you allow to speak that way? Let alone someone that you would vote for president just to speak that way.
What politician would be allowed
And I love your
to
term. Joe,
speak
I love
this
your
way?
term about these billionaires and these newspapers and the Wall Street Journal preemptively capitulating, trading on America.
And with the Wall Street Journal, they actually capitulated after Donald Trump attacked them.
Yeah.
At Bloomberg.
They caved.
Trump goes, I'm going to talk to their boss. I'm going to talk to Murdoch.
We'll have much more of Morning Joe Weekend after the break.
I'm sandwiched between the two generations. I'm helping to give caregiver responsibilities to my dad and then my son, who's just out of college. So it's like, where can I put my money where it can grow a little bit faster? I found Wealthfront and let it work its magic. The cash account is more like, what will my dad need? And then the investment account is what I want. My passion is traveling. I traveled to 6 continents. My last continent is what I'm trying to save for. You get that, oh, you've earned so much this month. It's like, hey, I made a wise decision there.
When my hair started to thin, I thought, am I gonna have any hair left?
After I gave birth, my hair wasn't even thinning, it was gone.
When I spoke to my dermatologist, he immediately pointed me in the direction of Nutrafol.
It's 100% drug-free and clinically tested.
Within 3 months, my hair was fuller.
It's longer, it's so much thicker.
I had more scalp coverage.
It was so nice to be noticed for my hair after hiding it for so many years.
Start your hair growth journey at Nutrafol.com.
Whether it's your future health, your future income, or your future happiness, becoming an AARP member today can help. Join for just $12 for the first year with automatic renewal and get a second membership free. Plus, you'll receive an insulated trunk organizer. Call or go online today, because the younger you are, the more you need AARP.
likes things smooth. So when she had a rough time getting a weight loss appointment, she came to us. Through Ro, she connected with a provider online and got a GLP-1 prescription. Now she's on her way to losing 20% of her weight in a year with diet and exercise.
Now that's smooth.
We got you, Heather. See if you qualify at ro.co/TV.
At Bombas, we dream of comfort, movement, softness. We believe your basic things should be your very best things, which is why we make the most comfortable socks in the history of feet. Slippers you'll float in, and underwear and tees that feel like clouds. No, bunnies. As always, one purchased equals one donated. Bombas. Visit bombas.com and get 20% off your first order.
With Chime, I get to decide when I get paid. It's kind of crazy. We can't choose when we get paid. Chime changed that for me. My pay lets me get up to $500 of my pay when I need it. There's no interest, no credit checks, no mandatory fees. My pay gives me the freedom to handle anything that life brings. I have big goals, and I'm not waiting for payday anymore. And you shouldn't either. That's why I Chime. Join me at chime.com and get paid when you say.
What's causing the rise in book banning? On my podcast, Velshi Banned Book Club, I speak with authors of banned books to try and find out. Season 2 of Velshi Banned Book Club. Listen now.
Welcome back. We've been talking about Donald Trump's attack on Liz Cheney, where he suggested she should have guns trained at her face. It's as bad as it gets, it's as frightening as it gets, and it's to be taken seriously. And there are a lot of different narratives to look at in the final days of this campaign. This one is hard to turn away from. Who speaks this way? Who in your life, ask yourself, speaks this way? And again, as Joe points out, what we're seeing is big corporations and billionaires preemptively capitulating to Donald Trump. If you can imagine what would happen if he won a second term, so many Jonathan Lemire would fall. And there's another preparation going on here, and that's preparation for a big lie in case he doesn't win.
Yeah, first of all, you're right. We're already seeing billionaires and corporations at minimum hedge their bets.
That's lame.
Right now.
Weak.
But there is a lot happening here, and there's a growing theory of the case that part of why the Trump campaign has been so over-the-top confident about their victory next week is they want to, and we're seeing it from Elon Musk every day, we're seeing it from Trump himself, other top allies, that they're trying to prime their supporters to expect to win and suggest that the only way that they could lose would be if it was stolen, if things were rigged, if the election wasn't fair, which is going to preview not just court cases were Trump to lose next week, but potentially many law enforcement officials fear of violence.
Yeah.
Yes, Joe.
But Jonathan, you have Donald Trump's own people. You even have people like Charlie Kirk freaking out now, telling the truth, saying the numbers are looking terrible in Pennsylvania. That right now, Trump is on his way to losing. I think it's a Politico story that was showing what Kirk and others were saying, because the early voting, according to them and many others, not going their way. Women